I'm Carol Angela Davis. Today is Friday. It's the 29th of July, 2011. We begin with our news today with our headlines. And, of course, I am coming to you via Skype, in case you're wondering. We have news for you. First, today we're going to talk about our debt ceiling watch. Bad news for John Boehner. Also, bad news for Ohio Republican Jim Jordan. Then we also have news for several Tea Party Republicans. They're being targeted in a huge ad campaign this weekend by the unions. We'll tell you all about it, plus a spanking for voting yes on the Boehner proposal. Then Michelle Bachman says, hands off my husband. Also today, wait till you hear the statistics on African Americans and the economic recovery. It's definitely cause for a pause. Okay, let's get right into our news for the day. We're going to begin with the debt ceiling watch. Of course, it is getting close. We all know this. Less than a week to go before the nation's borrowing limit must be lifted, and the debate goes on. The president speaking today live to the American people from the White House, saying there are only two proposals that need to be discussed. The first is the Mitch McConnell proposal. The second is the Harry Reid proposal. And yet and still, the debate on John Boehner proposal goes on. You should know that House Republican leaders are going to have to work over the weekend on these proposals. We should tell you that John Boehner was unable to marshal enough people to say yes, to vote on his proposal, to even call a proposal last night. So they are still talking about his proposal. We should tell you that one of the loud voices against the John Boehner proposal is Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio. And though he spoke out negatively against the proposal, and though he apologized to John Boehner for his actions, and John Boehner has said he is still willing to work with Jim Jordan. But word on the street is, oh, Jim Jordan is in trouble. Word on the street, a.k.a. the Columbus Dispatch newspaper, is that the Speaker's allies are now targeting Jordan in the Ohio redistricting plan. That would mean that Jordan's opposition to the Speaker's plan could cost him his job. According to the newspaper, he may basically lose his congressional district in the redistricting plan, which John Boehner has a lot of influence over. Ohio is going to lose 2 congressional seats because of weak population growth. Jordan, as we said, he did apologize to Speaker Boehner in a room full of Republicans, apologizing for opposing him. And in that room full of Republicans, at least one House member shouted out, "Fire him." We're not playing. It's dicey in Washington. Okay, as for the Boehner bill, Republican leaders need less than 24, they can't have any more than 24 defections in order to pass it. Can it happen? Reports out indicate that several Tea Party organizations plan on punishing conservative Republicans who say they're going to vote yes on Speaker Boehner's debt ceiling proposal. Right now, we should tell you that those that are targeted are Republican Representatives Jim Lankford from Ohio, Alan West from Florida, Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania, and Bill Flores from Texas. All four are freshmen, and all four declared yes votes for Boehner. On the Democratic side, here's what's going on. Liberal groups Americans United for Change is reportedly teaming up with a trio of huge unions to air TV ads over the weekend attacking House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. And you know who he is. He's a Republican from Virginia. They're also going to attack 7 potentially vulnerable Republicans for their stance on raising the debt ceiling. The targets over the weekend by the unions are Senator Dean Heller, a Republican from Nevada, Representatives Danny Rayburg, Republican from Montana, Steve King, Republican from Iowa, Lou Barletta, Republican from Pennsylvania, Chip Kravach, Republican from Minnesota, Bobby Schilling, Republican from Illinois, and Anne Marie Burkle, Republican from New York. Now, pardon me, we should tell you the unions participating in the ad buy, they are the Service Employees International Union, that's the SEIU, also the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, that's the AFSCME, also the National Education Association, the NEA. Those ads running over the weekend, look for them. And guess what? Word is that one reason House conservatives have tried to put the kibosh on John Boehner's legislation to raise the debt limit is because it includes more than $17 billion in supplemental spending for Pell Grants. These House conservatives call this welfare. My question is this: why are you willing to give corporate welfare to the oil companies, and you're not willing to help people get an education when, folks, let's face it, we all know that if your extended family, your extended family's family, and your extended family's family, and everybody in your city got welfare every day of your life for the rest of your life, you wouldn't approach what the oil companies have gotten in corporate welfare. We all know that. Okay. Now, the other thing, look for a petition this weekend by MoveOn.org. It's circulating a petition that says, if we have to decide who gets paid first, if the debt ceiling is not raised, if we have to decide who gets paid first, let's not pay Congress at all. Make sure you sign that petition. It's coming out this weekend. Came out today. Now, in the race for the presidency 2012, Representative Michelle Bachman, a Republican from Minnesota, says her husband is off limits. Hands off my husband, she says. She's speaking particularly about husband Marcus's work as a counselor at a youth center, a center for gay youth. Reports out indicate that his clinic administers so-called reparative therapy, very controversial form of therapy, seeking to encourage lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered individuals into a straight lifestyle. Michelle Bachman says, quote, I'm running for the presidency of the United States. My husband is not running for the presidency, unquote. However, you will remember that Bachman also said Marcus is the one, Michelle Bachman, also said that her husband made the decision, she and her husband made the decision to run for the presidency together. Also, remember this, Marcus introduced his wife during her formal campaign launch in Waterloo, Iowa. So, you know, he's pretty involved there. Finally today, the news is not good for African Americans. Take a look at how African Americans have fared after the politics, the failed politics and policies, economic policies of George Bush, and the way unregulated financial institutions, greedy oil companies, and the insurance companies have been able to decimate the American economy. For many African Americans in some cities, this is a second Great Depression. In some cities, the African American unemployment rate is 20%. We should tell you, remember this, Barack Obama did not do this. Don't forget that. What Barack Obama is trying to do is unwind the failed economic and political policies of the Bush administration. Look at a person like Derek Fox from North Carolina. Derek Fox, who has an MBA, was laid off from Philip Morris 2 years ago, and he has not worked a day since. He has sent out more than 1,000 resumes. He has contacted more than 1,000 companies. He is still unemployed. One economist put it like this: African Americans are not sharing in the recovery in the way others are. Devar Pager, a sociologist at Princeton University, conducted a study. This is what the study found. When it comes to job callbacks, he found this. For white non-criminals, 34% of them get a callback for a job. For white criminals, 17% of them get a callback for a job. But when it comes to African Americans, the news is not so good. Only 14% of blacks who are not non-criminal blacks, only 14% are getting callbacks on jobs. That means fewer blacks get callbacks on jobs than do whites with criminal records. That's not good, folks. And when it comes to black criminals, forget about it. They're not getting work. Only 5% of them get job callbacks. Now, these statistics are very critical because we know a lot of people in our society do not want to see this kind of conduct go on. You may not realize that you're not calling back African Americans at the same rate and with the same degree of scrutiny. So please pay attention to this in your hiring policies. Now, according to one economist, quote, the differential in unemployment between blacks and non-blacks in the U.S. is perhaps one of the most dramatic indicators of discrimination in this society, unquote. In fact, the Urban League says that the recession has virtually wiped out all of the economic gains that blacks made in the past 30 years. So everybody, pay attention. Let's make sure everybody's sharing fairly across the board in the economic recovery. If you bring the tide up, all the boats come with it. All right, have a great day. I'm Carol Angela Davis coming to you via Skype. I'll see you on Monday with new stories. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. I hope you'll follow me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Have a good day.